to make this experience at OWIS better every time, because this feedback that we are receiving from you is really beneficial for us. It really helps us grow. So let's grow together today also with this workshop. Few points about from the host. I'm not the yes, from the host. So few hosting suggestions that I would love to address. I would really appreciate if we can keep our microphones muted, okay, for the time of the workshop. Cameras on if possible, so that it will help our interaction be a bit more easier. It will make this workshop a bit more interactive. I would really appreciate if you can comment on or ask questions in the chat. The chat is open for you. A meeting is recorded. All right, so just keep that in mind when it comes to making a decision about turning your camera on, if you feel, because of course we understand. But we would love to record this meeting for purposes of resharing later on, if needed, with other parents who couldn't join today. So a brief agenda. So we will be sharing our vision and mission at the beginning. Then we will be sharing with you, dear parents, home learning policy that can be, of course, found in our OWIS handbook. But I know that handbook it has plenty of pages and it is as a big document. So we would love to revise it with you and listen to your suggestions and see what we can improve for the next academic year. We will be sharing in detail online platforms that most of our home learning engagements take place. And Ms. Shirin will be guiding us on where to find tasks and how to navigate these platforms. That is also in response to the parents' questions and requests for these little workshops on online platforms that occurred last week in our workshop on understanding the PYP curriculum. And then we will be having a chunk of time for our questions and answers. Alrighty, so let's start. Welcome everybody one more time. And yes, thank you. Let's enjoy.
Thank you, Ms. Dominica. Again, welcome everyone, and a very good morning to all of you. Thank you for taking this time from your morning on a Saturday to join us. We really appreciate it, and we really appreciate your commitment to supporting your children. Our meeting is going to be brief. I'm going to give you an overview, as Ms. Dominica just shared, different online platforms that we use, and we will have the bulk of the time for you to ask us any questions. I'm sure you have plenty of questions about the different platforms we are using and what kind of home learning is.
They are not Hi. Hear you. They are
We will
not here.
give plenty of time for that.
Hi.
Hey, hi. There's someone saying hi. Hi. Okay, so to kick off our meeting, we're going to just highlight the vision and mission of the school again to see how it aligns with our suggested home learning policy. So in our OWIS vision and mission, we really emphasize the world-class quality education, and we really aim to provide the most affordable and the most equitable access to education to all learners. And this is where the idea of having a unified platforms for all of the grade levels stemmed from. We needed to have some platforms that the students can go back to, that they can use, and that they all have access to, so that they have equal access to learning opportunities. So once that was thought about and different platforms were purchased and subscribed to, I was also started thinking about a home learning policy, so that we all are in agreement of what to expect at home, what to do for every grade level. And of course, the expectations for KGs are different from those for elementary classes and middle school. So I just wanted to share with you a couple of highlighted points from our student handbook. You can find all of these in our student handbook. For early childhood and for grade 1, these are the expectations. So for pre-KGs, we don't really assign any home learning engagements unless they are suggested and you would like to do some fun activities with them. For KG1, KG2, and grade 1, we focus on reading and language. So we really support the students and encourage them to use their Raskits accounts and sometimes Epic accounts if the teachers have them for grades 1, for example, to read books online at home. And we also have one library session every week in which the students go to the library, they visit that facility, and they use the books in the library to listen to a read aloud from our librarian and to read on their own as well. In math, we focus on really practical home-based activities, and the requirement is 15 minutes per day. This is for KGs again and grade 1. For grades 2 to 5, it's more or less the same. We still focus on reading, but the expectation for grades 2 to 5 students is that they read for 15 minutes every day, and they can either use their Raskits account or Epic, either this or that. The advantage of using Raskits account is that it keeps tracks of the books that were read, and it helps them progress from one reading level to another. That's the advantage it has over Epic, but both platforms are fine as long as 15 minutes of reading is being done every day. For math, the expectation, again, this is for grades 2 to 5, is that they practice their math skills for 10 minutes, and IXL is provided for that. So we have this special application called IXL, where the students can practice really their English and their math and their science skills. But the focus here is that we are expecting math to be practiced for 10 minutes every day. And this is again to reinforce what's being done in class, the concepts that are being inquired into, the skills that the students have adopted in class, so that, it's reinforced and they can grow in these areas. We also really encourage project-based learning because we truly believe, especially as a PYP school for pre-KGs to grade 5, we truly believe that every student needs to learn to become a lifelong learner. So we as teachers and you as parents need to collaborate together so that we empower them. We give them these skills. We teach them how to research, how to communicate, how to develop their thinking and to analyze. And these project-based learning opportunities are really excellent for helping us develop these skills in them and the attributes of becoming a researcher and a communicator and an inquirer and a thinker. So we highly encourage a project-based learning opportunity every week or every unit. But we also know that because of the different age groups, we need to have different durations. So these are the expectations for the different grade levels. For grade 2, it's 30 minutes per week. For grade 3, it's 45. Grade 4, 1 hour. Grade 5, 1 hour as well. And for grades 6 to 8, it might take a little longer because their projects are a little more complicated. But the students are expected to organize this, to take the lead on organizing this. So they decide on how to organize their time, they develop their self-management skills, they think about how they want to study independently, they want to compile the data that they collected in their projects. So all of this is student-driven. All right, so these are the home learning policies we have. Again, you can find all of these in the student handbook. And if you have any questions about them, we can have 2 or 3 questions now. And before we, go into the platforms and how we can use them. So if we have any questions about home learning policy, please just feel free to unmute and share with us.
Hi, Shirin. Can you hear me?
Yes,
I'm Alan. Yes, regarding grade 2, project run is grade 2, project-based learning. Is there any apps or anything that we can use to have this project-based learning? Because maths you have IXL, reading you have Raskits.
That's an excellent question. Thank you for bringing it up. Well, ideally, yes. If you want, I mean, think about it as adults, when we want to research anything and create our own project, we need to start by researching. So we definitely need to use some tools like books, videos, right? We need to use some resources to collect our data from and then sort it out to see what we are going to do with it. So, of course, the students can still use RaftKids and iExcel. They can also use their McGraw-Hill accounts because on McGraw-Hill, they have access to science books. So if their project is about science, let's say habitats, they can use the science book on McGraw-Hill to collect this data and then create an actual habitat based on the data they collected. If their project is about civilizations, for example, they can use their English book. They can find so many texts about civilizations, and then they can collect this data, excuse me, I'm so sorry, and sort it out in their project. Okay, but they are also free to use other online resources. I mean, any credible resource, and we do teach them in the library sessions how to find credible resource and how to avoid plagiarism. So if they find any credible resource online and we teach them how to research and what keywords to type in and so on, this is part of teaching the approaches to learning skills, the research skills. So they are also welcome to to use any online resource. Ms. Dominica, I feel like you would like to add something here. Please go ahead.
Yes, just unmuted myself. So just to add to that, in grades in the upper primary, in grades 2 to 5, the children are learning also how to use the Apple applications. So applications like Keynote or GarageBand or yeah, like these two, let's start with. So these are usually the ones that support this project-based learning. Sometimes the children would be asked to create a keynote, perhaps on to present their understanding of on a certain topic. So this is the time that we recommend weekly to work on developing skills of these applications that support project-based learning. iMovie perhaps or a Keynote. I would say that there are the two main ones that we would love to encourage you as parents also to explore on your free time and to support the children.
Yes, thank you again for the question. That was a wonderful opportunity to bring all this up. So they can use the platforms that we already have to collect the data, and they can sort out this data and present it either in a concrete hands-on project or in a digital way by using the different Apple applications we are using them. We do have Keynote in lower elementary as well. We're teaching them how to use it, and they are also using Freeform. So it's a great application to brainstorm different ideas and to add post-it notes and to add the different lines and graphs to sort out the data. So please do ask your children about those. We have so many projects on them. They can show you already what we've done in class in our digital literacy classes, and they can also use them to create new projects at home. Thank you. That was a wonderful question. Do we have any other question about the home learning policy before we move on to the practical uses of the applications?
On the occasion of no questions so far, I just want
sorry to interrupt. Yeah, just curious to know if the home learning was just the iPad thing. Even if we could get the writing thing also, it would be helpful for the students because they'll use the iPad. I appreciate that going towards the technology is good thing. Even if we have the traditional method of learning also at the home, that would be helpful because when the school gives some work, the students take it more seriously than what we tell.
Thank you for bringing that up too. You know, I had it as a note, but I totally forgot to mention it. So you just reminded me. We are, as of last week, we started posting some writing prompts that the students can choose from, and they can, you know, use them to write some creative writing pieces, or they have a beginning to a writing and they need to finish it. So something that's fun that they can do at home to work on their writing skills and to use all of these skills that they learn in class to improve their fine motor skills, their writing strategies, and to grow as writers. In school, we do have the balance between using the iPad, which we call the learning device, and the hands-on activities. So you will see our classes full of stations, hands-on material, discussions between students. It's not always screen time because we are keen on also limiting screen time to what's allowed. But we, as an Apple Distinguished School, we're trying to be an Apple Distinguished School. So we also try to empower the kids with the 21st century when it comes to learning how to use the different digital platforms and applications. So we do have hands-on homework assignments that we do send, but these are not in the learning policy yet. So perhaps we as a school need to be revising this as well, including some writing, Ms. Dominica, in our learning policy. This is a point we can keep in mind.
Hi, good morning. So I would like to back up what the previous lady said. What's happening is, yes, digital learning is a great thing to move ahead. And yes, we all vouch for that and we advocate that. But what I am noticing in my care is that, her handwriting is going worse to pathetic. So we as a parents are unable to judge what is happening in terms of her handwriting, or what's happening is she is able to read things very well. She is able to observe things from a digital platform. Great, that's the way to go. But if what I understand is, if your hand brain coordination doesn't work well, then your development also stops at certain level, because you need to write things to make your certain brain cells work, right? And what is happening is, I see there's very less practice in terms of when it comes to writing, or even if you guys are doing something in the school where she's writing or something, I don't know if it's our error, or it's if she's not able to get things back from school what she's writing, but I have not seen much of that content. So definitely, as a parent, it is a worrisome point that I need to know what she is writing, how good is she able to describe herself from her mind to a book, while the digital platform is definitely acknowledged. So yes, this point is very, very concerning and valid too.
It is a valid point, yes. And please feel free to reach out also to the homeroom teacher to ask for feedback if you are a little worried about whether it is it that your daughter needs to, put more effort into writing tasks, or if it's something that's general, all the students can work on and the homeroom teacher can support with. So please feel free to reach out to the homeroom teacher on Toddle, send a message, ask for feedback. I'm sure, Yani, the feedback that she will be providing will be valuable for moving forward. Ms. Dominica, would you like to add anything here?
Yep, noted.
Just wanted to say thank you for sharing that. And we will definitely work on that, because our teachers, our educators, especially in the lower primary and in the early childhood, as Ms. Shirin mentioned, they emphasize language development a lot, and that hand-eye coordination is a key, as you mentioned. So thank you so much for bringing that up, and we will look into that and we will see what we can do further. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is why we love meetings as such, because the feedback we get from parents really helps us look into our practices and see how else we can support the children and you at home as well. I also have a couple of comments in the chat box from Ms. Rawan Al-Agha. She's asking if the projects are communicated in Toddle under UOI. That's a very good question. Actually, all of the assignments that are sent by the homeroom teachers and the teachers in general, any assignment that is sent is communicated on Toddle. That is right. We usually, as homeroom teachers, I'm a homeroom teacher myself as well, we send out announcements on Thursday. Every Thursday, you receive an announcement from us, which recaps what was done the previous week and gives you a heads up on what will happen next week. And at the very last part of it, you can see a section with the title Suggested Home Learning Activities. And this is where we mention what IXL activities they need to do, what assignments they have on McGraw-Hill, for example, any reading books they have to read on Raskits or Epic, and when the project is due. Because remember, this is like 30 minutes, for example, for grades 2 per week. So sometimes the project is in the form of read a book and then prepare a book review about it, or be ready to come to class and share it. So the project does not always have to be a concrete one, like create a habitat, for example. It doesn't have to always be a model. It could be in the form of a digital presentation. It could be a form of an oral presentation. So this is how we play around it so that children have different opportunities to practice their presentation skills. I hope this answered your question. If it didn't, please elaborate on your question a little more so that I can specifically answer that.
Sorry, I'm a mother of a kid from KG2, so I have a point to add here about the weekly assignments. So you are right. We used to get the weekly assignments along with the notebooks that they practice throughout the week. But this was last year. This year, I see the frequency has reduced. Yes, we are getting a short paper cut, rectangular paper size note which talks about assignment, which is already replicated in the Toddle messenger. But what I would like to continue is to have the notebooks that the child has practiced throughout the week, so we get to see what they wrote and what they learned in all the subjects. Plus also we used to get return homeworks uh, in the same way. During the Thursdays, we used to get the written homeworks on the notebooks, but this year, unfortunately, I'm not getting this. Maybe I'm not sure if it is very specific to the homeroom teachers, but I would appreciate if the practice is followed by everyone, because it was very great last year, but this year I'm missing it actually.
No, of course, that's a very valid point too. I mean, consistency is key between the homeroom teachers, and we do try our best to be as consistent as possible. But different age groups have different needs, and it also depends on what was done every week, right? For example, I'm going to give you a practical example from my experience. This week in grade 2, it was all about assessments and presentations and projects. So there wasn't much work done on the notebooks, so I did not send them home, but I did inform the parents that no need to send the notebooks home this week because of this reason. Now, if you're saying this happened more than once, we are more than happy to encourage the teacher to send it more, and also please feel free to reach out on Toddle to the homeroom teacher and to ask for this. What grade level is this
No,
again?
I understand. This is KG2C. So I did raise this with the homeroom teacher some time back, but the frequency is actually very less. And also, the homework, as Ms. Akila said, uh, the return practices would be very much appreciated. I've raised this a couple of times, but I'm rarely getting the notebooks. I'm getting it, but it's like once in a month or once in 3 weeks.
Okay.
And I also notice that this is not consistent with all the homeroom teachers. In the same grade, it is done by some teachers of the other classes regularly, like in all the weeks, but it is not by some regularly. So
Okay. Thank you for reaching out to the homeroom teacher. Really, it's very important to keep the communication going, and I think it's great that you've taken that initiative. We can also follow up from our side. Please just keep in mind that our home learning policy does not state that we need to be providing written homework for KGs. For KGs, it's only reading, focus on reading and practical math work at home, like for example, cooking. Let's measure how much water we need. Let's put it in a cup. Get me 2x. Can you count 2, for example, for the very lower grade levels? So it's very practical. Okay. Now, if you require or if you are in need of some written practice, It can be provided as additional home learning support, but it needs to be requested from the teacher.
Yes, thank you so much, Ms. Shireen, for that point.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that point. And dear parents, thank you so much for bringing that. Because we as parents, we all have different needs and different expectations when it comes to home learning. Some of us, seeing our children, we would love them to work on more practical, more hands-on activities. Some of us would say, oh no, this I don't want my child to work at home, and that is also fine. Yes, so let's. I just wanted to emphasize that all home learning engagements are optional. Like this time that is mentioned here in the policy is a recommended time. Is recommended for that age group, not to discourage them from learning. We would love the children to have the joy from learning. Now, when it comes to, because every child is different, and then if I see that my child really needs more more writing, let's say more tracing or more writing practice, then yes, that is a very good point that Ms. Sheen brought up here. Communicate with the homeroom teacher. We are really happy to provide these individual tasks here and there to differentiate, but I will definitely address that with the teachers and emphasize to meet the needs to be on the same page with the parents, because that is the most important, that communication. If it's constant and if it's regular, that really helps to on both sides or three sides. Yes, so parents, children, and teachers to meet their expectations and to meet in the middle.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I guess that's it for questions about the home learning policy. I don't see any comments. So I guess we can move forward. Our next part of this workshop is very practical. We will be looking at the different platforms that we use in every cycle and trying some of them. We don't have time to go through all of them. I will give you an overview of all of them, but we will try some of them, the major 3 platforms that we are using. For the KG online platforms, you must know by now, of course, you've worked with your child or has seen your child use some of these platforms. Khan Academy Kids is the one the KGs rely on the most because it's very, friendly to this age group. It's engaging. I'm sorry, do we have a question or is just the microphone unmuted? Thank you so much. So I was saying Khan Academy Kids over here, these characters, they are all in Khan Academy Kids application, and the kids just love this application. I mean, I taught KG1 last year, and I remember how they were like super passionate about, oh, can I use my iPad? Because all they want to use is this application. And these characters are really very, very friendly. And each one of them is dedicated to help the child grow in one area. So you can see here, for example, Olo, the elephant. He's a specific character designed to help the children learn letters. So how do letters look like? They trace the letter G. They go trace the letter G. They say the sound. They find pictures that start with the sound G, 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 and so on. So every character is really designed for a certain purpose. Some of them for math counting, some of them for reading, for geometry, and this Cody guy here that kids love so much is for guiding. So it just guides the children. Do you want a hand? Do you need a hand? And do you want me to help you count? Let's count together. So it's a really it's a body that learns with the child. So if you haven't seen this application yet, I would highly recommend that you ask your child to bring their learning device and show it to you, because it's something that they are really, really enjoying in the KGs and pre-KGs. IXL is there as well for KG1 and KG2. And it's targeted for this age group. So all the English, math, and science objectives on IXL are for KG1 and KG2 students based on our American curriculum, right? So whatever counting they need to do, whatever letter recognition they need to learn is all on IXL. Now, IXL is an application just like Khan Academy Kids that can be used either to do what the teacher has assigned in terms of activities or to do things on my own as a student. I'm going to show you what IXL looks like and how it works in a few minutes so you can get a better understanding of that. Same for RASKits, because IXL and RASKits are used in both the primary and the KGs. So I'm going to show you how to use these two. So just as a differentiation, IXL is basically activities in math, English, and science. RASKits is a reading application. It's very different. It's a reading application the students can use to either read books on their own or to listen to books that's read to them. And some books also have quizzes at the end, so it's a great opportunity for them to test their comprehension. For grades 1 to 5, we use the following online platforms. So again, RASKits and IXL, as I mentioned. We also use McGraw-Hill, and we have access to the 3 books, the science book, the math book, and the English book on McGraw-Hill. And what's fantastic is that, again, this application allows the students to either do activities that are assigned by the teacher or to explore the books on their own. So if you feel like you have a child that you want to challenge or you want to support in a certain area, you can always use their learning device. Go to McGraw-Hill, go to the certain, let's say I want my child to practice adding 2-digit numbers more. So I can go to McGraw-Hill, I can go into the math book, and I can select the different games and activities that my child can do to grow in this area. For grade 5, we also use ClassKick. And it's basically a platform in which the teacher assigns some assignments. And this is where they can do assignments, they can do projects, they can submit their final work, and the teacher can take an overview of them. It's also used in grades 6 to 8, and the kids are like very fluent in using it. No problem with that. In Arabic, we have 2 applications that we rely on, I Start Arabic and I Read Arabic. As you can see, I Start Arabic is the basic one, so it's used by Arabic B students, and I Read Arabic is a little more advanced, so Arabic A students use it. For grades 6 to 8, we also use McGraw-Hill for science, math, and English, ClassKick again, and I Start and I Read Arabic. I want to take you on like a practical hands-on experience for RASKits, IXL, and McGraw-Hill. Let me just get a confirmation that I am sharing my whole screen, not just my tab, so that I make sure that you can.
Ms. Shirin, if you can guide us from the logging in stage, because we just got a question here in the chat box that there is a parent whose children have difficulties logging in to the platform. So if you can kindly lead us through.
I'm going to start from the very basic, from point 0, okay? Let's say I want my child to work on RASKits. On their learning devices, the children have the applications. It's a little much easier. But if you also want to use a browser on a laptop, just to make sure that you have a bigger screen, you can just Google it, go into it, and then it says Kids Log In. You don't have to do that if you're using the iPad. And then ideally, if it's not logged in at all, you would need to type in the teacher's name. So in my case, for example, Shirin Banna, my account is sbanna3. So I will, as a student, I will write in my teacher's name sbanna3. So this is how the page would look like. On the application, on the learning device, this is how it will look like as well. This is the first step on the learning device. So if the teacher's account is saved, you just click on it. If it's not saved, you type it in here. If you don't know what the teacher's account is, please message the homeroom teacher and she will give it to you. Once you type in the teacher's account, you will see the names of the different students. So I asked for permission to use my student's account, Mundir. So I'm going to click on my name. Let's pretend I'm Mundir now. I'm going to use all of my accounts. I'm going to click on my name, and there's a password that the homeroom teacher has already communicated with you on Toddle. If you have not received that, also please feel free to reach out to the teacher. So I'm going to choose my password, click on go. And here I am in my account. Now, in my account, I can see 3 things, and sometimes you can see a 4th thing popping up here. It's called flight check. I'm going to tell you about flight check in a minute. Hold that idea. Let's explore the other areas first, and then we'll get back to that. So if I want to see what assignments my teacher has, picked for me and is really advising me to do this week, I can obviously click here on my assignment. Go to single assignments, and there you go. I can see the books that my teacher has recommended I read. Now, sometimes I might want to read the book and do the questions, and sometimes the assignment is to listen to a book and do the questions, and sometimes it's all 3. So it depends really on the objective the teacher is trying to achieve with the child. Okay, so all I have to do again is just click on the book, say I want to read it. It will take me to the book. I can also record my voice here and listen to my reading again, or maybe play it for my parents. I can take some notes as I am reading. So let's say I am reading this page now. And I want to add a note, say here, I wonder what will happen next. And I can save that note. Okay? So this will also help us keep track of the different reading strategies that the child is using. If they run across a word that is a little unfamiliar, they can, for example, take a note. You see how it's saved on every page and say, I wonder what this word means. I think it means blah, 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 just to track their thinking. So this is really a great tool there. And once the child is done with the book,
Good job.
it will automatically give them some points. They will earn some points and they can move on to do the quiz, which is always based on 5 questions. And you select, it's a multiple choice quiz. And then again, when you finish the quiz, me as a student, I'm also rewarded with some points. And this is how you collect the points that show here on top. And they're really a great incentive for kids. They love them. They're very motivated to collect more points because the more points they collect, the more they can do with their avatar. They can change the outfit, put some funny hats on, some sunglasses, so they can play around with their avatar. So they really love collecting points. So this is the section for the assignments. Now, what if I wanted to read more? I wanted to read more books that are not just about the assignments Ms. Shireen asked me to do. I can go to 2 areas. There's either the level up or the reading room. The level up is a great place for me to choose books that are specific for my grade level. So in my case, as Mundir now, I am reading level G books and I am aiming to reach level H. I want to progress, right? In reading, we have levels from AA, which is like pre-KGs and KG1 levels, all the way up to XYZ for grades 5, and so on. Okay, so in my case as Mundir, I am at level G. I want to move to letter H. In order to move to letter H, I need to learn so many strategies and so many skills. And to learn and apply these strategies and skills, I need books. So this is where I can find the selection of all the books that match my level. All of these books are at my level. I can read them independently and I can, test my comprehension on them. Once all of these books are done, I will automatically be moved to level H. Now, what if I did not want to read a book that's up to my level? What if I wanted to read a book that's easier just for joy? Or a book that is more challenging because I really want to test myself. I feel like I can read more challenging books. I can go to the reading room, and this is where I can choose a selection. Whatever I want, I can choose a book that's based on my interest. I can choose level books again, but challenge myself with the level. I can choose poems and songs. I can change the language, If I want to read about a certain topic, I can go over here and select any of the books that are there. Okay, so this is where I can really either chill and read an easy book that I will just enjoy, something that I'm interested in, or this is where I will challenge myself with a book that is above my level. Now, I was telling you there's a fourth thing that pops over here called flight check. The student will only be able to see that if the teacher has assigned an assessment. Okay, so what we can do as teachers now, let me tell you about it from the teacher's perspective. What I can do as a teacher is I can track all the books and all the points and all the progress that every child has done. I can see what assignments they have completed, how many points they earned for it, what their accuracy level was, what their comprehension understanding was like. Okay, I can track all of that in my data. And I can also assign an assessment, an online assessment, online reading assessment, obviously, on RAS Kids if I feel like the student can move forward. So if I see that Mundir can move forward from G to H without finishing all of these books, I feel like he's ready. I can assign an assessment for him that shows here in the flight check with level H. And then when the student logs in, they will click on this flight check. They will read the book, record their voice, and then it's going to ask them to summarize the book they've read. So again, they record their voice summarizing the book. And then they have a couple of questions to answer, like a comprehension quiz, also 5 questions. And all of this data is shown on my side as a teacher. I analyze it and tell whether the child is able to move forward or whether they need to stay at level G for the meanwhile. I said a lot about RAS Kids. I'm going to take a minute to pause and give you time to reflect. If you have any questions about RAS Kids, please feel free to type it in the chat box or just unmute and share it right now.
So a question on the level up. So in case if we finish all the reading in the level up, because I haven't noticed that, the alphabets above. So if we need to switch to the next set of reading, so how to go to that? For example, I'm in G, I've finished all the levels. How to go into the next level before you assigning the flight check?
Yes, if you finished all of the books in this level, in level G, it will automatically level you up. Okay? So
Okay.
3 options. Let me tell you. 3 options. You either finish them all and automatically level up, or you ask the teacher to assign the assessment so that he can do the assessment and move forward. Or you can always go again to the reading room and choose here from the leveled books, level H to.
Got it.
Okay, so 3 options. Thank you for that question. Do you have any
Thank
other
you.
questions about RAS Kids? Is anything showing in the comment box, Ms. Dominica, in the chat box? Because I cannot see it right now. You need to unmute your microphone, please.
Thank you, Ms. Shirin. So there are a few questions following, but I'm following up on these questions. There was a question about the use of ClassKick for grade 5. So grade 5 ClassKick should work. So if there are some difficulties, please reach out to the homeroom teachers. And there was also a question about hard copies books that I was just explaining, but the physical books are available. McGraw-Hill physical books are available now in middle school. In the primary, we are still relying on the interactive course books from McGraw-Hill. Yeah, and then if the parents or the children really prefer the hard copies, we are happy to, like for example, what happens in grade 1 is that mostly teachers are assigning some work, and they are sharing these PDFs from McGraw-Hill. And the parents either decide to print it out and then so let the children work on the as hard copies, or access them on the learning devices as per preference. And there is a definitely valid point, as the data here describes, that the children have exposure to the screen time. We are doing our best to limit it. We will be launching Apple Classroom very soon in terms to hopefully, so where we will be able as teachers to see actually all the children's screens from our page, from our educators page in the classroom. We will be able to see all the 25 screens at the same time on our screen. So we will be able to monitor it a bit more effectively. You as parents can also set limits on certain applications, perhaps, I don't know, Raskits, 30 minutes close. I also received on Thursday during the parent-teacher conferences a really wonderful advice and suggestion from a parent. If we could share a list of applications that are recommended for each grade level, and we will be definitely working on that. And I just wanted to say, I don't know if that parent is here or not, but I just wanted to say thank you, and then we definitely will work on that. To provide parents with the list of applications that are recommended across all the subjects, across all the grade levels, so that we can collect it all, have it in one place, and then share it with you, dear parents, so that you will also help us here. So to say, okay, are the sketches really necessary? Or is the application, I don't know, a Kahoot needed on my child's learning device? So if you are having these questions, they are completely valid and they are definitely important. So we will do our best to address that, to create for you a map, a list of applications that are recommended from all the teachers across the grade level. So thank you, Ms. Shireen. So these were the few inquiries here.
Very good action. I also took note of that. We will follow up on it, and inshallah, we will try our best to get it as ready as possible. Thank you for that. So if there are no more questions about Raskits, I'm just going to move quickly to IXL so that we still have time to view Magro Hill. I know you have big questions about that. So again, for IXL, let me take you from the very beginning. So you can also access IXL through a browser or through the application on the learning device. If you are using a browser, this is how it would look like. You will have the password given to you from the homeroom teacher. And once you sign in, with an application on the learning device, you can sign in using the username, password, or the QR code. So if the homeroom teacher also provided the QR code, you can just scan it and log in. So again, now from my perspective as a student, I'm Mundir. This is how my platform will look like when I sign into it. I will see things that are assigned to me from the teacher, and these are usually activities that match the objectives that are being targeted every week. So in our toddle announcement, let's say, for example, I'm going to take grade 2 as an example. We are working on comparing and contrasting. We're working on subtracting one-digit number from three-digit numbers, for example, with regrouping. So the IXL activities that will be posted from my teacher are going to show here, and they match what I will be doing in class, so that whatever I'm learning in class and discussing with my friends and classmates and practicing, I'm also taking home and reinforcing the skill at home and practicing. So I can see all the things that my teacher assigns on a learning device using the application. This section from your teacher you can find it in the top corner, top left corner. I can also see what skills I have recently worked on, and I can see some recommendations. The recommendations that show up here, this is really nice. These recommendations come from IXL. Now, how does IXL know what I should work on? At the beginning of the year, we had the students do an assessment, this assessment, in math and in language arts. Okay, so they had to step into the arena, do a couple of exercises, some activities, some games, different, interactive engagements. And based on these engagements, IXL was able to assess where the child is at. So you can see here, for example, in math, I have 3 recommended skills for algebra. I have 3 skills that I need to work on in measurement and data, 4 in geometry. If I click on it, I can also see the different recommendations that match these objectives I need to work on. Same for English. Based on the English assessment, IXL was able to detect what skills and objectives the student needs to work on. And what's really nice about it is that if you are using a browser, you can print your action plan. So this is for parents who are always thinking, they're worried, how can I support my child more? I want to move them forward. I want to work on their gaps. I want to target their skills. I want them to develop these areas that are not really their areas of strength yet. This is a great tool. You can print the action plan, which specifically tells you under every subject in math and English for now, they don't have a science assessment yet. In math and English, what objectives your child needs to work on. So if you look here, for example, the overall math level is over 320, and these are the strands, the different strands, and the different objectives that the child needs to work on. This is a great tool for you parents. You can only access it from a browser, not from the application. Using the same
Yeah,
user.
to ask that it doesn't apply or it doesn't show up in the application. So I need to go to the browser and download this.
That's right. That's
Okay. Okay.
This will not show up in the application. In the application on the iPad, the child will only be able to see his part, so the arena, where he does all the different engagements. But if you want to see the action plan, you can access it from a browser using the same credentials, same username and password. You go to assessment and scroll down to find the action plan.
Okay. Yeah.
Another really nice feature using the browser that you as parents can use is the analytics, because this is where you can follow up on your child's progress. So it will show you the English and the math progress and how much was done in every month. Okay, how many assessments, how many activities, how much time was spent, how many questions were answered, how many skills were practiced. And if you scroll a little further, you can also see the specific skills and objectives that the student has practiced. You can see them all, the English and the math ones.
And this is also from the browser, not from the app, right?
It's also from the browser so that you can see it as a parent, because the application is really for the student. It's for the learner to use. The student will not be able and will not care probably about all of this, especially in the lower primary. Maybe in the upper primary, this would make more sense to them because they can analyze this data. So in the application, you cannot see that, but you can see it in the browser. And this is a great feature for you parents. And it gives you some advice on how you can support, stay up to date and just move your child forward with this.
Which is going
These
on
analytics
the
can be
keyboard,
seen
right?
by you as parents and by me as a teacher. So I base what I assign the students on this and on the objectives we work on in class. So in the From Your Teacher section that I showed you at the beginning, the child has this from your teacher. These are the objectives that were targeted in class that week and that I want the student to practice more at home. And there might be some activities here that are specific to that child, because remember, we started our meeting saying that in OWIS, our vision and mission really focus on helping every child grow, every child become a lifelong learner. Every child has access to resources that will support his growth. So we do differentiate and assign some activities that are specific for that learner based on his or her needs. I'm sorry, I know someone wanted to ask a question. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I was about this analytics. It's based on the child skills or based on the, what I call that, based on the results that she did it on IXL. Because sometimes she failed in many exams, like math and English, and sometimes she's not focused. So the analysis here will keep pushing her to do it again and again, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Even the engagements, even the activities that they do. So if I, as Mundar now, if I click on this and start with it, and I start answering the questions that I am being asked correctly, IXL will move me forward with the activity. Okay, it will start scoring 10 points, 20 points, 30 points, 40 points, and so on. If I, make a mistake and choose the wrong answer for the first question, it will give me another question that I will need to try again with. So you will see that students that need that extra support, IXL provides it for them. It's an automated feature in IXL. Thank you for asking.
Sorry to interrupt.
These questions. Yes.
Just a quick question on IXL itself. When I go with the IXL login on the browser, is it the same login ID and password for that also?
It's the same, yes.
Yeah, and one more thing, it's as you said, the analysis is of the whole month. Is there any analysis where it is actually for a day? Means every day how much they do, what are the skills they covered?
Yes, so the analytics are based on everything, not a day, not a week, not a month, everything the child has done. If you want to see their usage, you can click over here on the first tab, and this is where you can see how much they have done in last 30 days. And I think there is a place where you can click and choose, I want to see how much they have done per day. So what I am scrolling through now is actually all of the activities that Mundir has done, and I can see what answers he has chosen and whether he would, was correct or incorrect. Yes, here. So this is where you can see what was done on a daily basis. So if I want to see what my child has worked on Tuesday, I go over here, I click on the plus sign, and I can see all the different activities that were done.
Yeah.
Miss
Yeah.
Shirin,
Thank you.
Yes, Ms.
Miss Shirin, parents are asking in the chat box if we can please guide them quickly again through from the login page to how to get the report or how to get the summary of the students' learning.
A very
Okay?
important feature, right? I told you you'll like it. Okay, so here is what we are going to do. We're going to start from A to Z again. So go to ixl.com, type in the username of your child. It's the same username and the same password that your child uses for their application. Okay, so type in the username, type in the password, and click on sign in. Once you sign in, you have these 4 major pages. Obviously, you go to assessment. This is where your child has done their assessments in the arena. You don't need to step into the arena. This is for the child. This is where you need to go to. So just scroll down, print your action plan.
So I need not do another assessment, is it?
You don't need to do the assessment because the child has already done it in class at the beginning of the year.
Okay.
And this data that IXL uses to generate the action plan is also based on what the child has been practicing. So all of this data compiles together to generate this action plan. Okay, now if you feel like, for example, let me look here. If I feel that my child Mundir can add two-digit numbers now, 2 numbers up to 3 digits, they can do it. It's no longer an area that they need to develop in. Khalis, they have mastered it. What I can do is I can ask my child to go back into the arena, to step into the arena and do the math assessment again. So it will generate new action plans.
Based on the analysis, right?
Yes, based on the new assessment that was done by my child. Absolutely. Thank you. These are really good questions. And this is why we want to have these workshops with you. We want to grow with you and learn new things that we can do together. If there are no
Sorry,
more questions, yeah, go ahead.
just a question I missed. So based on the assessment results or based on the suggestions, so it gives in the text, right, what type of assignments we have to choose. But will the system throw or take me to the link of those practices which
Let's
I
try
have
it
to?
together. Yeah, let's try it together. So this is the action plan. Let me click on one of the objectives. It does.
Okay.
Thank you for that. I didn't know it either. I tried it for the first time with you. All right. Do we have any other questions about IXL? Okay. So I'm going to move quickly to Macro Hill. It's the same concept. I'm going to walk you through the process. I'm sorry, I was trying to access it before the meeting, and for some reason, it just kicked me out. Okay, so I'm going to start from A to Z again. For Macro Hill, you can either use the browser on your child's learning device, or you can use a browser on your laptop. Just type Macro Hill pre-KG to pre-K to 12. Click on login. reload the page. Okay, try. Thank you for being patient with this. It's usually much faster. I have no idea what's going on. Miss Dominica, can you try it on your side? Is it working?
I will try just a second.
Let me see if I can access it from my tablet. You know, I always tell people I'm working with when we're using technology. I remember one of my professors in university used to say this, with technology, whatever can go wrong will go wrong. Whenever you need it, it's not there.
Especially in presentation, it's happening.
Yeah, that is Murphy's law. That's why I personally prefer to be more reliable on books.
Good point. Good point. Did it open from your side, Miss Dominica?
So it opened indeed, but I have the account of the coordinator, so I don't have any class assigned.
I will send it to you right now.
Okay. Just Munters or someone's.
Yes, Munters.
Okay.
Miss Dominica, it's in the chat box. So McGraw-Hill is really, it follows the same system, okay? There are books, the academic books that we use, the English, math, and science ones, and as well, the teacher can either assign activities or the child can do some activities on their own. There are assignments. Once the child logs into McGraw-Hill, they can see the assignments. They're called to do in the McGraw-Hill application or browser. And the child can also explore the books on their own. So if I am teaching a unit on habitats in science, but my child is interested in learning about fossils, they can go to the science book and skim through it and choose the lesson that is about fossils. They don't have to stick to what we are doing, and that's it.
All right, Shirin, I'm ready to share the screen, but if you can just make me a host so that I can do that.
Yes. There you go.
Mm-hmm. All righty, so this is Munter's McGraw-Hill. Let's say if I'm going to science. So the children have the access to 3 interactive books and assignments from 3 subjects: the math, language, and science. So for science, I have no assignments for now, but I can still go home. I can explore the science news. It will take me to really interesting articles. So this really enhances the children's research skills. And if someone is a science-oriented student, there's so many interesting articles here that sometimes myself I enjoy reading, even though that they are designed for the little ones. If I'm going to math, let's say, in math, I have some assignments here from the teacher on my to-do, right? And over here, so these are the assignments suggested by the teacher. But below, and that's what I would love to show you, is the interactive student edition of the book. So here the parent is asking about the physical books. Yeah, they are not available for the primary, but we are having this interactive books available. And by going to the left top corner and the table of contents, I can quickly jump into the lesson that my child is now in. If I'm not mistaken, the children are now in the subtraction in grade 2. So let's say how to relate, okay, adjusting numbers to subtract. Okay, and then here in the section, I love the section Be Curious, because here they are very much analytical thinking development tasks oriented. So these are the book offers very good questions, very good sparking curiosity questions, the ones that help children analyze and just think outside of the box a little bit. Here, the children can simply work on problems, on the word problems, practicing. So if I have a task, show your work or explain your thinking, how can you adjust the numbers to find the difference of 39 and 16? So I can, if I'm working on my iPad, I can use simply an Apple Pen or just my finger to simply write on it. If not, I'm just writing using a mouse, but I could also write here a comment, right? Like just simply by typing. So this helps the children to again interact with the book and expand their math thinking. When it comes to language, I would love to show you the readers from the Magro Hill available for the children. They are called Wonders. And the readers here are really very broad. So if I go to literature collection, again, we are going through so many different books, stories, right? By the table of content here, I can scroll. When it comes to realistic fiction, let's say games around the world. Very often these texts will be assigned by the teacher, so the teacher is browsing through them or reading using these texts, reading with the children in the classroom to relate them to the units of inquiry. I'm sorry, I have you here. Questions, dear parents, about the macro?
So, Nika, before we move on to questions, I just want to highlight that
Please.
some of us as parents, we like to go over things that were done in class again at home. We like to review. So if the child has completed a Magro Hill activity, whether in math, English, or science, in class, it will not show in the to-do list anymore. There is another icon on the left that says past work. You can click on it and it will show you what activities were already completed. So if you would like to reinforce that with your child at home, that's your go-to key. It's called past work. In the chat box, we have a question about Magro Hill being for grades 1 to 5. It's actually from 1 to 8. And they use it in KG2, but KG2 students do not have access to Magro Hill. The teacher does, and she uses the resources on them. How will you share a pointer of this meeting once it's over with links and all? That's a good question. So let me see if I understand it correctly. You want us to share how to navigate the resources or just a recording of this meeting?
Well, it should cover like the main pointers of the entire session, like, what were the key highlights, and with a reference with 2, 3 links of these 3 key links. So it's easier if even somebody has missed it, we can go through it, or if it's just kept out of mind, then we know what exactly we discussed and spent time on. So it helps.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. We did not think about it, so thank you for bringing it up. When it comes to the links, we don't need to provide them to you. You already have access to them, IXL, MicroHill, RaskKids, and I just showed how you can just research them on
Correct.
Google and find them
Correct.
right away. And the credentials are the same usernames and passwords for your child, so you can use those. But we can, what do you think, Ms. Dominica? We can share the recording to this meeting perhaps on Toddle so that you guys who joined us today, and thank you so much for taking this time on a Saturday morning to do that and for staying a little longer as well.
Yes, sure. I will be working on the total post to summarize the learning. There is a parent who was asking also about the PowerPoint. I think there's no problem. Sure, we will share the PDF of the PowerPoint with all the links and the videos, because there were some videos created by our teachers. So I will resend them with the guidelines on the platforms. Also, the recording, I'm sure that it can be shared, so no problem. So we will be sharing the recording as well, so that everybody who couldn't make it today can still have access to that, and for us to revise, and just go over all the guidelines from Ms. Shirin. Thank you so much.
All that will come your way in another post. Stay tuned to it. Quick questions before we leave. I mean, if you're busy, we would like to thank you so much for being here today. And if you would like to leave, please go ahead. I'm going to stay a few minutes just to answer the quick questions that came up in the chat box. Trisha is asking, can you share this PowerPoint as well? We are struggling for the credentials always, since the password is always saved in kids' iPad. If it's my Trisha, the Trisha I have in my class, I have sent all the credentials in a total message at the beginning of the year. So if you just scroll through the private messages that you have received from me, you should be able to see all the usernames and passwords in the very early messages that were sent this year.
And I wanted to answer the question from Miss Farwa. I started typing, but then I got distracted with the Magro Hill. So Miss Farwa is a mom of KG1 student, and she's asking about how much time we should spend with the children for learning. To be honest, the recommended time is 10 minutes. And when it comes to reading, with the Khan Academy kids is enough. Like, there is really no need for more apps, okay? Dear parents, really, please. There is no need to have plenty of applications. It's not about the amount of applications, it's about the quality time, how these applications are used. So Khan Academy is it's completely fine, and it's completely sufficient. At this young age, it's all about children learning how to use these learning devices more than using them actually for learning. We are still recommending a small storybooks for the little ones when it comes to reading specifically. When it comes to for the Khan Academy, 10-15 minutes, little practice of tracing, little practice of counting, perhaps some game here and there, so the child gets used to using iPad as a learning device, as a tool. So that would be my recommendation.
Yeah.
All righty, dear.
Yes. That KG1 students have access to IXL. So if you are a parent who's keen, on moving their child forward with different areas, you can use IXL.
Yeah. All righty, dear parents, thank you so much. I think we will wrap it up here. Thank you so much again for joining us today. Please message me or message Ms. Shirin on Toddle. We are available. Khan Academy, just to answer the last question, is available only for kindergarten students. So from grade 1 is not available. Dear parents, thank you so much again. Thank you, Ms. Shirin, for preparing this beautiful workshop. I know that home learning engagements is a very big topic, and it's perhaps, if there is a need, if we feel that from the parents' feedback that there is still a need to organize another one, we are happy to do so. And yes, please message us, reach out. Toddle is think about it as a WhatsApp. It's always easy to just chat with the teachers via Toddle. Thank you one more time. I will be closing this meeting now. And have a lovely Saturday, and see you tomorrow during the drop-off or during the pickup for these who I have a chance to. And see you tomorrow, Miss Shireen. Take care, everybody. Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for joining us today.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.